Congressman Ryan runs a subcommittee in Congress that specifically has responsibility for overseeing and funding the Capitol Police. So Congressman Tim Ryan is sort of the closest thing that Congress has to a point person on that issue, on that police force. And today, as that point person with that expertise and experience, Congressman Tim Ryan basically lost his mind a little bit.
I want to thank the gentleman from New York and the other Republicans who are supporting this and thank them for their bipartisanship. To the other 90% of our friends on the other side of the aisle, holy cow, incoherence. No idea what you're talking about. Benghazi, you guys chased the former Secretary of State all over the country, spent millions of dollars. We have people scaling the Capitol, hitting the Capitol Police with lead pipes across the head, and we can't get bipartisanship. What else has to happen in this country? Cops. This is a slap in the face to every rank and file cop in the United States. If we're going to take on China, if we're going to rebuild the country, if we're going to reverse climate change, we need two political parties in this country that are both living in reality, and you ain't one of them. I yield back the balance of my time.
Say what you really mean, Congressman Tim Ryan. We need two political parties in this country that are both living in reality, and you ain't one of them. Those sharp words today coming from him as the House actually did vote to approve a bipartisan commission to investigate what happened in the January 6th Trump mob attack on the Capitol. That vote took place tonight. All Democrats voted for it, which itself is enough for it to pass with a majority vote in the House, since Democrats are in the majority in the House. So if they alone vote for something, it'll pass. But on the other side of the aisle, only 35 Republicans saw fit to vote for it. The vast majority of Republicans in the House voted against it. This coming after the Republican leadership in the House actually whipped their membership and told them all to vote no. And it's interesting that there's 35 House Republicans that defied the whipped vote and voted yes anyway, despite what their leaders were telling them what to do. But most House Republicans voted no. And this legislation to create the January 6th commission will now go to the Senate, and Republican leaders there will also tell all Republican senators to vote against it. Republicans, in fact, will filibuster the thing, which means it'll require a 60-vote majority to pass the Senate, which means 10 Republican senators would have to cross over and vote with the Democrats in order to make it happen. That will not happen. That will not happen on this. That will not happen on anything. I mean, that could not happen on a vote to declare Wednesday the day that precedes Thursday. That could not happen on a vote to declare apple pie is a nice thing to eat. There's no circumstance in which 10 Republican senators are going to cross over and vote with Democrats, especially not when their leadership in Congress and former President Donald Trump is putting out statements telling them not to vote with the Democrats on this. And because of that, most House Republicans voting against it, and now most, if not all, Senate Republicans will vote against it. That means there won't be a commission, a bipartisan commission to investigate how the Trump mob came to attack the U.S. Capitol on January 6th to try to stop the certification of the presidential election results. Now, if Republicans won't even vote for that, if they won't even vote to have a bipartisan, half Democrat, half Republican commission investigate this attack on their own workplace. I mean, even Mike Pence's brother, Congressman Pence, voted no to create this commission. The mob that attacked the Capitol was literally hunting for his brother because they wanted to murder him. They ran through the halls, smashing stuff, screaming, "Hang Mike Pence, hang Mike Pence," while Vice President Pence hid under a stairwell with the Secret Service until they could spirit him out of there ahead of the mob braying for his blood. Mike Pence's own brother is not interested in any sort of look-see into what happened there. Okay, so if that's where the Republican Party is on that issue, if they won't even support a bipartisan commission to look into that, what are the odds that Republicans are going to come around in significant numbers to, I don't know, support President Biden's $4 trillion comprehensive infrastructure bill? What are the odds of that? I think the Republicans are going to negotiate in good faith and try to contribute constructively to that legislation and then agree that most of them are, if not perfectly satisfied with it, at least satisfied enough to give it a try and do something for the country. Really? What are the odds of them? They won't even vote for the January 6th commission. What are the odds of them voting for the infrastructure bill? I'll tell you, it's impossible to divide by zero, so don't spend too much time trying to do the actual math on those odds. The bottom line answer is it's not going to happen. Today, that led to my favorite twin set of headlines in the news, stacked on top of each other like an undersweater and an oversweater at Politico.com this afternoon, were these two headlines. First one, clock ticking on Biden as second Republican infrastructure meeting yields little progress. Followed by this one, liberals to Biden. Ditch the infrastructure talk with Republicans. Yes. If the clock is in fact ticking, and it is, and now weeks have been wasted while the Democrats and the Biden administration talk with Republicans about infrastructure with no meaningful progress made toward anything Republicans will ever vote for, let alone in large enough numbers to actually make a difference toward the final vote, then why are you doing this? Continuing to spend time meeting with them and talking with them is just throwing away the time that you have to get stuff done and making it less likely you'll be able to do anything at all. Ezra Levin from indivisible.org telling Politico today, quote, the best case scenario is that Biden's party gets a few Republican votes for things the Democrats could have just passed on their own. The worst case scenario is that the Republicans successfully waste enough time that they scuttle the whole effort.